Responded to Belfast, Augusta Road West in Searsmont yesterday, just before 8 p.m. for a report of a single vehicle crash. Now, the sheriff's office says an initial investigation indicates 23-year-old Natalie Austin of Searsport was traveling east when her vehicle crossed the center line, went off the road, and turned over multiple times. Austin was pronounced dead at the scene. A crash reconstructionist from Maine State Police was on scene to assist with the investigation, which is ongoing. In other news tonight, a piece of legislation was brought before the Health and Human Services Committee today that proponents say will provide affordable health care. However, two of Maine's largest health systems argue it'll spark hospital closures. Our Doug Banks spoke with both sides ahead of the hearing and has details.
Thursday at the State House, lawmakers and advocates voiced approval for LD 2196, which aims to lower health insurance costs and reduce healthcare barriers by capping how much hospital prices for patients can grow per year, reducing prior authorization requirements, and slowing premium increases.
This is ambitious legislation, but it is not radical.
Hospital spending makes up the largest share of healthcare costs in our state.
Representative Katine is sponsoring the bill and says if passed, the bill's cap wouldn't apply to Maine's 17 critical access hospitals. And
if there's a determination that a hospital is financially distressed, that also wouldn't apply to them.
But two of Maine's largest health systems, Northern Light Health and Maine Health, stand in opposition, claiming those proposed caps would cost Maine hospitals roughly $1 billion annually, taking funds away from care and research and sparking possible closures due to a lack of funds.
Maine Health saw an operating margin of just a little over 1%, which is fiscally not a lot, and this bill stands to cost Maine Health over $600 million, and we want to make sure that we are offering state-of-the-art care for Mainers.
Proponents argue similar legislation has worked in other states.
Oregon's state employee health plan implemented a similar model and saved $107.5 million in just 2 years.
But Northern Light Health's president and CEO says Maine's healthcare system isn't comparable to Oregon.
They started out with more hospitals with a positive operating margin. Maine is not like that. Maine has much less capability to absorb this type of change. It would be very disruptive for health systems in this state.
Those we heard from Thursday also shared their perspectives before the Health and Human Services Committee. The bill now moves to a work session, and even if the bill were to pass as is, it wouldn't go into effect until January 1st, 2028. At the State House, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Staying in Augusta, today was Labor Lobby Day at the State House, where over 150 union members from every Maine county called on lawmakers to support legislation aiming to provide affordable childcare and tax fairness. The Maine AFL-CIO is the state federation representing over 200 unions and over 42,000 workers. Today, they also publicly announced their endorsement of gubernatorial candidate Troy Jackson and his universal child care plan. He says that plan would include free child care to all working families earning up to 125% of the state median income.
No family should have to leave Maine just because they can't afford to raise their kids here. And no grandparent should have to watch that happen. The future of Maine depends on getting this right.
Jackson says his plan's tax system will be rolled out late next week. In other news tonight, a Bangor man is facing charges after police responded to a call from a resident about someone allegedly trying to kick in their door. About 3:15 this morning, police went to Center Street for reports of someone trying to break into an apartment. Bangor Police Sergeant Jeremy Brock says officers told 20-year-old Hunter Targon to leave and not return. Brock says the officers remained on scene, and he says a few minutes later they noticed Targon return and use a separate door to gain entry. According to Brock, the officers witnessed him attempting to get into the same apartment and threatening the original caller. He says Targon resisted when officers attempted to take him into custody. Targon is charged with burglary, criminal trespass, refusing to submit to arrest, and violation of conditions of release. Well, switching gears now, a small-town dispute in Waldo County will be decided by a judge. As our Alex Schley tells us, the disagreement centers on a half-mile stretch of road and a vote Freedom residents cast more than 7 decades ago.
The town of Freedom is heading to court with one of its own residents over access to a portion of Beaver Ridge Road. The dispute centers around a half-mile stretch of the road the Hediniak family owns. The family says they want people to ask before they use it to access nearby trails. But town officials say the road is subject to an easement, meaning residents are free to use it as they please. The dispute traces back to the 50s when Freedom residents voted to stop public maintenance of the last half mile of Beaver Ridge Road. The Hediniak family argues that decision effectively ended the road's public status. They also say that when their family moved to Freedom in the 90s, they received written confirmation from town officials at the time, stating they had a right to the property. So far, the dispute has already cost the town nearly $50,000 in legal fees. Over the weekend, Freedom Select Board unanimously voted down a consent decree, which Tyler Hediniak says would have resolved the issue.
The settlement agreement was endorsed by the town attorney, endorsed by myself, endorsed by the plaintiffs, endorsed by all the other abutters of this road. And if it had passed, I would have dropped it off at the courthouse on Monday for the judge's signature, and we would be done.
Select Board Chair Laura Greeley, however, says the residents made it clear that is not what they want their elected officials to do.
If the people in Freedom want to spend the money to see this go before a judge, then they get to decide to do that. And that is what they did. We had 70 people at the hearing last weekend. We had a petition with another 75 names on it, just wanting it to go before a judge.
A court date has not yet been set. However, Freedom officials say in the coming weeks, the town's attorney is scheduled to hold depositions. In Freedom, Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
A Superior Court judge has ruled in favor of a Bar Harbor man, saying he does in fact have standing in an appeal related to the use of the town pier for cruise ships. Charles Sidman says following the official legal limiting of cruise ship traffic several years ago, the town has not enforced the new limit vigorously enough, and he also claims the town has sought to use the town pier to accept more cruise ship disembarkations. Sidman says this violates the town's zoning law, so the local Board of Appeals granted a permit for the use of the pier. Sidman tried to push back against the permit with an appeal of his own, but he says the town tried to tell him he had no standing to do so. So Sidman appealed to the state Superior Court.
Judge Duddy, looking at the law, even though I'm not sure he wanted to, he said, look, the law is clear. Sidman meets the criteria for being able to appeal this matter to the Board of Appeals. So you got to hear him. So now we're going to go back to the Board of Appeals and discuss the actual issues.
Sidman says the town can either change the zoning law to allow for some passengers to disembark at the town pier, or they can follow the current law and keep disembarkations at the ferry terminal.
One ship that was...
Alrighty, folks, well, let's hit pause now and get a first check of our forecast.
Thank you, Beth. Our first weather tonight is brought to you by Quality Automotive and Brewer. Experience a quality automotive difference, reliable service, and expert care that you can depend on. Call us to schedule your next appointment at 922-2043. All right, highs for today. We did see just near 30 here in Bangor with warmer temperatures away from the front we dealt with this afternoon. A little bit warmer near Portland and the Sanford, low 40s for you, mid 40s in Freiburg out there for today, but much cooler. These highs were hit overnight for Millinocket and Greenville, so you're much cooler this afternoon with those temperatures in the low to mid 20s throughout the Presque Isle Holton region. And for tonight, a little bit of snow is going to fall down near the southwest in the Portland area, while the rest of us will just deal with some cloudy skies out there for tonight. Staying mostly cloudy headed into tomorrow. All of us are going to be dry, and those temperatures will be slightly warmer, reaching to the mid 30s. So out there for tonight, still cool temperatures falling down into the mid-teens with light winds and cloudy skies. Beth?
Chase, thank you so much. And just ahead, more of your local news.
Whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or any commercial vehicle, we know how to get you the big money you may deserve.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the Twos. We win for you.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com. There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Come to the Beer Garden in Skowhegan, where classic German dishes meet Maine flavor. A place for friends and family to unwind and enjoy live music along the Kennebec with 16 taps, wine, and cocktails. There's something for everyone. The Beer Garden. Eat well, drink well, and gather often.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Thinking of updating my kitchen. Thinking of redoing our kitchen. We are finally updating our kitchen.
For all those people who never seem to get around to
Breakfast nook.
Chase has financial guidance.
See how you can start saving. Really?
Really? At home or in person. That's guidance from Chase.
I'm Jonathan Bush. I've made my career disrupting the status quo, creating jobs, and helping people achieve their American dream.
Jonathan Bush. He's a veteran, a conservative leader, and Maine job creator.
Maine needs big change. State spending is out of control. We need to audit Augusta, reduce waste, cut income and property taxes. I will shake up Augusta. I'm Jonathan Bush. I look forward to earning your vote.
Welcome back. The annual Maine Fishermen's Forum kicked off in Rockport today. The multi-day event aims to provide education to help strengthen Maine's marine industry. Our Grace Blanchard has more.
A melting pot of fishermen, researchers, scientists, and more. That's how organizers describe the annual Maine Fishermen's Forum.
Dealers, harvesters, educators, everyone at the table having a voice. And it's not doc talk, it's fact-based.
For more than 50 years, this forum has showcased solutions for sustaining fishing livelihoods in a changing Gulf of Maine.
So we see fishermen as, really important knowledge holders that help to inform the work that we do and learn what's happening in the Gulf of Maine. The lobster industry specifically really represents, in some of these smaller communities down east and our island communities, the real foundational economic core and driver of our coastline.
However, many say rising costs are putting a strain on the industry.
This last year was to me, was a down year. Our expenses were this is about the highest that they've ever been.
Longtime lobster fisherman John Druin says the increased costs for gear and labor are compromising profit margins for many fishermen.
Expenses now for traps, everything associated with it has gone up. Building a new boat or any parts, any equipment, just everything is just so sky high.
Organizers say the Fishermen's Forum aims to help tackle these challenges and many others through education. Last year, the forum also gave away $27,000 in scholarships for Maine-based students with marine ties, supporting the next generation of industry leaders.
Doesn't matter what side of the table you're sitting on, everybody cares about this industry in some capacity, and it's coming together, being the blue economy community.
In Rockport, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And on a related note, as part of the Fishermen's Forum, multiple gubernatorial candidates will hold a seminar of sorts to discuss their visions for the future of Maine's fishing and aquaculture industries. The Candidates Seminar, as it's called, will include Shenna Bellows, Rick Bennett, Jonathan Bush, Edward Crockett, Troy Jackson, Angus King III, James Libby, Owen McCarthy, Benjamin Midgley, Hannah Pingree, Dr. Nirav Shah, and Robert Wessels. The executive director of the forum says Maine's next governor and their choice to lead the Department of Marine Resources will have a significant impact on fisheries policy at the state level, and so this is an opportunity for fishermen to have an audience with those seeking the governor's office. And your national headlines are just ahead, folks. Stay with us.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
What matters more? A bank with innovative products or one that cares for the community? At Bangor Savings Bank, we think it's both because our innovation helps customers build stronger credit, earn rewards when shopping local, give teens independence and financial experience, and simplify business with local solutions. So what matters more? You.
So Dale, you really need to get that colon cancer screening.
It's been
forever. I need to be in there. Wrap it up. Come on, Dad. It's taking forever. How much longer? It's been an hour. Are you done yet?
Dale, don't worry. We can do it with just a blood test. Shield.
Okay, let's do it.
Shield is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk for colon cancer. Ask your doctor about FDA-approved Shield from the company trusted in blood tests for cancer for over a decade.
Ready to create your backyard oasis? Alexander's Professional Landscaping will work with you to create your perfect outdoor space. Work one-on-one with our landscape designer to create a unique garden to fit your family's personal aesthetics and lifestyle. Have our pros install your new lawn, garden, or patio. Schedule a consultation today by calling 573-4497. Alexander's Professional Landscaping, the way landscaping should be.
The Farmer's Table in Corinna brings you outstanding breakfasts, lunches, and dinners made from farm-grown fresh ingredients. Dinner specials are available every day. Enjoy our homemade desserts, and above all, bring your appetite to the Farmer's Table in Corinna.
You are watching WFVX, Fox 22, Bangor.
President Trump says he wants to have a hand in selecting Iran's next leader, as the Pentagon says it's only ramping up its campaign with bigger strikes still to come. Fox's Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Though the White House says regime change is not its primary goal in Iran, President Trump pushed again on Thursday for Iranians to take to the streets.
Now is the time to stand up for the Iranian people and help take back your country. You're going to have a chance after all these years to take back your country.
While U.S. officials say a ground invasion is not in the works, they also have not ruled it out. In an interview with NBC News, Iran's foreign minister said his country is ready for anything.
We are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
Late Thursday night, Iranian media reported another missile volley headed for Israel. So far, Iran has launched attacks on a dozen countries in the Middle East and beyond. But U.S. Central Command says Iran's retaliatory ballistic missile attacks are down 90% since Saturday, and drone attacks are down 83%.
Our forces are executing with unmatched skill, and the mission is advancing decisively.
The Pentagon says there's been no U.S. casualties since 6 service members died in Kuwait after the initial attack. Declan Cody was an Army reservist from Iowa.
I still don't fully think it's real. I really wish I got to tell him I love him one more time.
The State Department is helping evacuate Americans stranded in the Middle East. The first government-sponsored charter flights landed Thursday back on U.S. soil. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Top U.S. military leaders held a briefing at Central Command headquarters in Tampa today. They offered up the latest information in the war with Iran. Fox's Jennifer Griffin has those details.
U.S. Navy F-18 Super Hornets taking off from the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Gulf, helping to take out mobile missile launchers, Iranian naval targets, and enemy air defenses.
In just the last hour, U.S. B-2 bombers dropped dozens of 2,000-pound penetrator bombs, targeting deeply buried ballistic missile launchers. Notably, we've also struck Iran's equivalent of Space Command, which degrades their ability to threaten Americans.
Now that CENTCOM has the ability to base its B-52s in British Diego Garcia and Fairford, England, the Stratofortress, originally designed to carry nuclear weapons in the 1950s and fly at 50,000 feet, can begin targeting inside Iran. Responding to that, U.S. submarine sinking an Iranian frigate with 130 sailors on board off the coast of Sri Lanka, Iran's Foreign Minister Araghchi issuing a new threat. The U.S. has perpetrated an atrocity at sea. Mark my words, the U.S. will come to bitterly regret the precedent it has set. Last night, the Pentagon released the names of the 5th and 6th American soldiers killed in Kuwait. Major Jeffrey O'Brien, a resident of Waukee, Iowa, and Chief Warrant Officer 3, Robert M. Marzan, killed in the March 1st drone attack in Port Shuaibah, Kuwait.
There's no shortage of American will here. We remember and honor our fallen, those 6 that we will soon welcome at Dover, who gave everything for their country in this mission.
Admiral Cooper said the U.S. military has sunk now 30 Iranian Navy ships, including a prize drone carrier, which is currently on fire. Secretary Hegseth said the U.S. is flowing more combat power, forces, and munitions into the region. The amount of firepower over Iran is about to surge dramatically. The biggest problem CENTCOM is facing right now is Iranian propaganda. Twice today, they had to put out messages on X shooting down false reports that American pilots had been shot down. In Washington, Jennifer Griffin, Fox News.
Meanwhile, a major cabinet shakeup in the Trump administration today. The president firing DHS Secretary Kristi Noem from her top post amid recent turmoil and reports he is furious over her recent testimony on Capitol Hill. Fox's Mike Emanuel has more.
That has been extremely effective.
Ask you to run these advertisements, is that right?
We had that conversation, yes.
Days after she was grilled on Capitol Hill about her management of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem is no longer the secretary. The tipping point stemming from her testimony claiming President Trump approved a $220 million ad campaign for DHS, but the president says he not only didn't authorize the spending, he didn't know about the ads.
It is obvious that the deal is not getting done and the job is not being done. He will make the switch. He's a developer. He knows how to get stuff done. And he's in the middle of a war, and he really cannot allow his administration to be taken off course by sideshows like this.
The former South Dakota congresswoman and governor has led DHS since President Trump began his second term. Her tenure marked by 2 deadly Minnesota shootings, a closed border immigration policy, and the seizure of millions of pounds of illegal drugs.
The safety and security of the American public is too important for this. Somebody needs to be in the position as Secretary of Homeland Security to do the work without the distractions.
And that somebody is Oklahoma Senator Markwayne Mullin, who's been tapped to take Noem's place.
It's just, pretty humbling when you start thinking about it. A little kid from Westville, Oklahoma, gets to serve in the president's cabinet. That's pretty neat.
But the switch up not satisfying critics of Noem and the Trump agenda.
A change in personnel is not sufficient. We need a change in policy. And that has to be bold, dramatic, transformational, and meaningful.
Senator Mullin is expected to take over the role on March 31st if confirmed, and Noem will be shifted to another project within the administration. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
A first look now at police body camera video of Sunday morning's deadly mass shooting in Austin, Texas. 3 people were killed and 13 others injured. The gunman was killed by police. Fox's Brooke Taylor reports from Dallas, and a warning: some of this video footage may be too graphic for certain viewers.
Disturbing body camera footage shows Austin police officers racing to stop the mass shooter who killed 3 and injured over a dozen. The suspect, armed with an AR-15, gets out of his SUV and shoots a pedestrian in the parking lot. He then walks toward a popular bar. The crowd ducks and runs to safety.
There have been multiple people shot. We need help right now.
As 911 calls pour in, officers respond within 57 seconds.
Where is it? Shots fired! The suspect is down!
Police say the suspect also fired into the crowd outside the bar from inside his SUV, using a semi-automatic handgun. Officials say that video is too disturbing to release. The victims identified as 19-year-old Ryder Harrington, 21-year-old Savitha Shawn, and 30-year-old Jorge Peterson.
I want to again recognize the bravery of our officers. You saw that firsthand as they ran into danger to stop this. It is quite clear that they saved multiple lives.
Police killed the shooter, who is identified as 53-year-old Njaga Junya, a naturalized U.S. citizen from Senegal living near Austin. Officials say police responded to a mental welfare check on him in New York in 2022. He was wearing a property of a law sweatshirt with an Iranian flag T-shirt underneath, and authorities found pictures of Iranian regime leaders in his home. The FBI is still investigating whether this was an act of terrorism.
The potential for terrorism, that had to be investigated, and it is.
And Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza says his office finished its review and will not seek charges, calling the officers heroes, but it comes amid major backlash about the progressive DA's policy that requires all officer-involved shooting cases to go before a grand jury. In Dallas, Brooke Taylor, Fox News.
And there is still more to come on Fox 22 News at 10. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the World Baseball Classic.
Bryce Harper, Polsky, Cal Raleigh, Aaron Judge.
Team USA takes on Brazil, only on Fox.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Foggy's Pub, your place for fun, food, and friends in Palmyra, Maine.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
At Ashes to Ashes Pet Crematory, we understand your pet is family. When it's time to say goodbye, you deserve compassionate, respectful care. We're a family-owned crematory in LaGrange, offering private cremation for dogs, cats, and even exotic pets. You'll meet the caring people who handle everything from start to finish. Visit our office to see our selection of urns and memorial jewelry for pets and people. You do have a choice in where your pet is cremated. Call Ashes to Ashes Pet Crematory today. We're here when you need us most. Please call us for pricing of services.
When the morning light hits Maine, start your day with a good morning, Maine. Craig Colson, Janessa Bishop, by your side, bringing the stories that matter statewide. Local news and the forecast ahead. Wake up informed, ready to go on ABC 7 and Fox 22.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
The Maha movement is now taking on medical schools. Fox's Jonathan Siri has details.
A new push to get medical schools to step up their nutrition training.
Today, the average medical student report receiving less than 2 hours of nutrition education every year. And that ends now.
Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has spent months pressing schools to increase nutrition education, threatening to cut funding for those that refuse. He has long argued doctors are undertrained in nutrition, leading to a focus on treating chronic diseases with medication instead of preventing them with diet.
On average, medical schools have required only about 2 hours of nutrition education to earn a diploma. 2 hours.
The new initiative asks medical schools to review how much nutrition training they teach, appoint a faculty member to oversee nutrition education, and show how they plan to hit 40 hours of nutrition education. Kennedy says the initiative is not meant to mandate a specific curriculum, but provides a framework schools can adapt.
To be clear, today's announcement is not the Trump administration dictating medical curricula.
Some experts argue Kennedy's premise that doctors don't know enough about nutrition and just push pills is incorrect and misdiagnoses the problem. They say financial and time constraints are why Americans struggle to eat healthy, and because fast food is so convenient and cheap. More than 50 medical schools have voluntarily agreed to take part in the new nutrition training initiative. In Atlanta, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
A multi-billion-dollar setback for the Trump administration. A federal judge has cleared the way for thousands of businesses to receive refunds for tariffs. Fox's Lydia Hu has the details.
A federal judge has ordered the administration to begin refunding billions of dollars in tariffs. More than 2,000 companies have filed lawsuits seeking refunds, according to reports, and many of them are big businesses like Costco and FedEx looking to benefit from the tariff challenges initiated by small businesses. The federal judge's order comes after the Supreme Court invalidated some of Trump's tariff powers last month. The order directs U.S. Customs and Border Protection to begin recalculating duties importers paid and determine exactly how much money needs to be returned. On top of returning tariffs paid, where estimates range from $130 billion upwards of $175 billion, the government revealed in a new court filing that it will also pay interest on the refunds, estimated to be nearly $700 million per month. The group that represents the small businesses say they can now go back to planning their businesses.
I have one business that I talked to who was on a waiting list for 2 years for a piece of machinery so that he could manufacture in the United States, but the machinery was coming from a highly tariffed country. So now perhaps he'll be able to buy that machine.
The refund process remains unclear. The government says it will be a painstaking endeavor requiring manual review of millions of import entries, but others are pushing back, insisting this process could be automated. The federal judge will hold a private conference tomorrow to hash out the refund process. This court order directing refunds comes after the president and administration officials suggested refunds would not be automatic, and Democrats like Senator Elizabeth Warren are seizing on that, amplifying calls for refunds. Reporting from New York, Lydia Hu for Fox Business.
As American children face more and more dangers online, House lawmakers are working on legislation to address social media, gaming, and chatbots. They're at odds, however, over how to protect young users. Fox's Mark Meredith with more.
As tech companies like Meta and Google face a landmark trial over whether they intentionally designed addictive apps, lawmakers in Washington remain divided over how to rein in big tech.
We're jamming through a package that prioritizes the industry over accountability, that prioritizes industry over our kids.
On Thursday, the House Energy and Commerce Committee debating the Kids Internet and Digital Safety Act, a mashup of a dozen bills aimed at protecting minors online. The package could expand parental controls, punish self-harm content, and require app stores verify ages before certain downloads.
We have to deliver common sense legislation that will survive all of the court challenges that will inevitably come.
Republican lawmakers say it's one of the biggest steps yet to protect younger users who often do not realize the chatbot they're engaging with is not a real person.
There's no one-size-fits-all fix that can help American families navigate the challenges they face in today's digital childhood.
Democrats argue the package before the House is weaker than one by the Senate, which included a duty of care provision shifting responsibility for user safety from parents to tech companies. Democrats also claiming it gives social media platforms loopholes to avoid lawsuits.
That's the way that they'll be incentivized to respond and to do the right thing.
Now, the U.S. is not the only country dealing with these issues. Australia imposed the first social media ban for kids under the age of 16, and we've seen France and Spain follow through with similar measures. In Washington, Mark Meredith, Fox News.
While stocks drop on Wall Street, tech giant Apple introduces a new and cheaper laptop. Fox Business's David Asman has more on this and other issues in today's business headlines.
Markets finished lower for your Thursday. All three major indices red across the board. The Dow is the worst performer of the day, closing at more than 1.5% lower. Well, tech giant Apple has launched its most affordable laptop ever. The new model, called MacBook Neo, features a 13-inch display and weighs in at 2.7 pounds. It'll be available in colors like indigo, blush, citrus, and silver. Unlike other MacBook models, the Neo uses Apple's A18 Pro chip, the same processor that powers the iPhone. And here's the kicker. You get all that for a price that starts at $599 or $49.91 a month over 12 months. The MacBook Neo will officially be available on March 11th. Pharmaceutical firm Eli Lilly has launched a new program designed to help more employers cover obesity drugs. The platform, called Employer Connect, gives companies more flexibility in how they provide coverage for obesity treatments. The goal is to expand employee access to the medications at lower out-of-pocket costs, while also helping limit expenses for employers. Through the program, companies can pay a net discounted price of $499 per month for a new multi-dose form of Zepbound across all dose levels. And Amazon is launching new AI tools for medical practices. Amazon Connect Health can generate notes from live conversations between doctors and patients, add billing, symptoms, and procedure codes, and summarize health data from existing medical records. The platform is also designed to help patients verify their identity with healthcare providers and schedule and manage appointments. That's business. I'm David Asman.
Well, just ahead, we have your full 5-day forecast.
For years, I've been telling you that all roads lead to Down East. I'd say you listened.
Down East Toyota is now the #1 Toyota dealer in Maine. And we didn't get here just by selling cars. We got here by taking care of them.
From our state-of-the-art body shop
to our own rental agency, we're here to serve you at every stage of the journey.
From the entire Down East team, thank you
for making us the #1 Toyota dealer in Maine.
One family, one dealership, one outstanding brand. All roads lead to Down East for your next Toyota.
I wish to present the importance of hard work and determination, of not backing down when things are tough, of being there to help a friend. Because it is only when we work together that we achieve true greatness.
With a 100% U.S.-based workforce and a 100% U.S.-built fiber broadband network, Spectrum is America's connectivity company. Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota equipment. As the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S., they offer the versatility and reliability to get the job done right all year round. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment with 0% financing available or save up to $4,000.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Discover the charm of Warren's Waterfront Restaurant, Bucksport's only waterfront dining. Relax in a cozy atmosphere where every visit feels like home. Indulge in fresh, flavorful dishes paired with stunning river views. Join us at Warren's Waterfront, your perfect escape.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
6th ranked UConn
down with one hand.
takes on Marquette. Saturday at 12:30 Eastern on Fox College Hoops.
Thank you very much. Tonight's weather is brought to you by Da Vinci Signs. From interior and exterior signage, signage packages, and vehicle wraps to illuminated signs, LEDs, and electronic message boards, we're all about making your business visible with innovative signage designed for impact. All right, highs out there for today, just near 30 here with falling temperatures throughout the day. We're going to see lower temperatures throughout the night, of course, but you can see it was a bit warmer further down to the southwest where you could see some snow out there for tonight near the Portland and Sanford region, while highs only hung out in the low 20s for Presque Isle this afternoon. And you are going to see some single digits up north for tonight, while here in Bangor, many of us right around the mid-teens, same for Monson and Millinocket, and you can stay much warmer where you're warmer during the day along your coastline and down to your Portland with your lows in the mid-20s. But as you see for tomorrow, we're going to be warmer than we were for today. Still seeing some cloud cover out there, but we'll stay dry with highs in the mid-30s, back above freezing. But many of us can hang out near freezing as we head just further north, with some temperatures only hanging out in the mid-to upper 20s, looking like Caribou will do that that for tomorrow. So the average high right around 36 degrees. Many of us are going to be doing that for tomorrow, and our temperatures will continue to increase into your weekend. We got a little bit of weather to come with that as well, especially for your Saturday with highs back in the low 40s, but then low to mid 50s Sunday into Monday. And check out Tuesday, 62 degrees with plenty of sunshine as well. I'm sure many of us are going to want to get out on that day, but Wednesday and the Thursday, temperatures fall again. We'll see upper 40s into next week, but still that is about 10 to 12 degrees above average, right? So winds out there for tonight are pretty light, except along your coastline. Still a breeze out there, and they'll still stay in place while the winds are light inland. You can see gusts up to 15 miles per hour, so nothing too extreme out there along your coastline, but winds will return from the south as we head into your Saturday, ahead of some rain and a little bit of freezing drizzle as well. That wind's going to be gusting near 25 miles per hour along your coastline, coming again from the south. So out there for tonight, we do have a little bit of snow potential down near Portland. That's not too big of an issue. Maybe dropping off around a half inch or so, and then that's going to be out of here. We'll see plenty of cloud cover for tomorrow again, with some peaks of sunshine here in the Machias area, but again, staying dry for tomorrow. We won't see any precipitation until we head into Saturday ahead of a low pressure system, and some of that can bring some freezing rain potential. Just north of here in Bangor, where your temperatures could be a little bit closer to freezing to start off the morning, but a lot of us will be warming up. We'll see that mainly transition into rain. We'll take a break throughout the afternoon into the evening hours, but you can see there is more scattered showers on the way that'll be arriving late Saturday night into your Sunday. But out there for tonight, we just got cloudy skies, some light snow falling down to the southwest, otherwise staying dry with lows in the mid-teens out there for tonight. Heading into tomorrow, we're back in the mid-30s above freezing with mostly cloudy skies and winds staying light from the east. And here's a look at your extended forecast. Once again, we do have that chance for a wintry mix, a little bit of rain and freezing rain heading into your Saturday with highs in the low 40s. We'll clear out by Sunday afternoon with partly cloudy skies and much warmer, back in the low 50s, mid 50s by Monday, and eventually reaching the low 60s with plenty of sunshine heading into your Tuesday. Beth?
Chase, thank you so much. Folks, don't go anywhere. We have sports for you next.
Want to save $1,000? Switch to Spectrum and we guarantee you will. Seriously, you can hold us to it. Switch to Spectrum fiber-powered internet and 2 mobile lines for just $30 a month each. That's $1,000 in real savings in your first year, guaranteed. Or we'll cover the difference. We call it the Spectrum Savings Guarantee. So call this number now, switch, and save $1,000 on internet and mobile. It's a guaranteed no-brainer.
Hi, I'm Tony Hafford from TC Hafford Basement Systems, the all things basement-y company. Basement waterproofing, basement structural repair, humidity and mold control, and nasty crawl spaces too. Since 1991, over 15,000 Maine homeowners have trusted TC Hafford Basement Systems to fix their basements. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basement-y.
A sharp pain in his chest. He knew it was his heart, but 2 hours from the big city hospital could tragically mean the end. But it wasn't. Thanks to Senator Susan Collins' tireless fight for Maine's rural hospitals. Because of Senator Collins' work, his local hospital had recently received up-to-date diagnostic equipment and upgraded facilities, all paid for with new federal funding. Lives are being saved. Call and thank our Senator Susan Collins for delivering this lifeline for Maine.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond Lumber Company. Bring in your ideas or get inspired by Hammond's extensive showroom displays. Your Hammond sales rep will help you create a materials list and cost estimate, and Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And Hammond delivers from 34 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Your new kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Our names were whispered through time, from generation to generation. Nothing is impossible for God.
Welcome back in, folks. We start with a big game in Orono as the America East Women's Basketball Tournament kicked off. And it was a border battle in the first round. Number 7 UNH visiting number 2 Maine. Black Bears won both regular season meetings. We picked up in the first. It's Lala Wood. She knocks down the corner 3 to grow Maine's lead. A few possessions later, it's Woods again. This time from the top of the key, it's good again. Maine up 15-11. End of the first, it's Elizabeth Lavoie going to work in the post for the Wildcats. She gets it to fall. Maine up 18-17 after one, but they take full control in the second. It's another three, but this time from Sarah Talon. She added 16. Then it's the player of the year, Adriana Smith. She hits the mid-range jumper as Maine scored 28 points in the second quarter. Then second half now, it's Smith again. She dishes to Woods, who gives it right back. Smith scored 35 points in this contest to go along with 15 rebounds, but she was talking about defense after the game. Now over to the NBA, where the Celtics suffered a tough loss to the Charlotte Hornets at home on Wednesday night. The Celtics have been on a roll as of late, but a bump in the road came on Wednesday when the Hornets came into TD Garden and handily beat Boston 118-89. While the Hornets didn't have a player that dominated the scoring department, several players stepped up big and contributed to the win. Jaylen Brown says the team's Wednesday woes stem from poor defense and his inability to finish buckets at the rim.
No, I had a lot of great shots at the rim. I had a lot of great shots at the rim to start. Just didn't go down, and I got to be better. At the rim, I got to put my team in a better position, especially to start the game. I missed a lot of easy ones at the rim, and then that led to our defense a little bit.
Celtics fans try and stay calm, but superstar Jason Tatum's status has been elevated to questionable for Boston's game against Dallas on Friday. If he does return, it will be just 10 months removed from a season-ending Achilles tear that left most fans and doctors thinking he would not play this season at all. I'll be in Boston to cover the game on Friday as Cooper Flagg is making his return to New England. And speaking of Flagg, he returned to the lineup on Thursday night, scoring 18 points at a loss to the Magic. He's also questionable for Friday night's game in Boston. What a night at TD Garden. That could shape up to be a Tatum return and Flagg return. That's unbelievable. You can't draw it up better than that. Well, the Hamden Academy boys hockey team just won the Class B North title for the first time in 2 years. Our Max Sturm caught up with the Broncos after their historic night.
The last time the Hamden Academy boys hockey team won the Class B North, their current players weren't even born yet. The Broncos last won the regional title in 2003, 23 years ago. But on Wednesday night, that time was reset to 0 days.
I mean, it's amazing. I wasn't even born yet last time they won it and everything, so it's just like a great feeling. I don't really know how to explain it.
This means so much for me, so much for our team. We've been looking at it the entire season. It's always been our goal to get here at the end of the season, right? It's been, like you said, 23 years. This is the most amazing thing that could happen for our program. We're just so pumped.
The win did not come easy for the Broncos. In fact, the game took 3 overtime periods to decide a winner. Being asked to give almost an entire second game of effort in such a physically demanding sport can be a lot. But the Broncos say all they needed to make it through was the belief in their squad.
In a long game like this, I'm getting tired, obviously, but, I just got to have faith in my team, my defense in front of me. They kept me in it that whole game.
I mean, we've been here 2 or 3 times this year, overtimes against Camden Hills, Messalonsky twice. I mean, we've learned from all of our mistakes and all of our losses, and, our captains really lead us through it.
Sophomore Wyatt Allen was the hero for the Broncos in triple overtime, collecting the loose puck in front of the net and tapping it in for Broncos history.
I couldn't have done it without my teammates. Everything they did this year, everything we've worked for, Henry Armel, Aiden, all of our seniors, our captains led us to this point.
He tapped it in, and I was just like, there's no way we just won. I thought that game's gonna go on forever, but when I saw that goal in the arm get pointed, I lost it. I was overjoyed.
The Broncos will now face York Biddeford Old Orchard Beach in the state title game on Saturday. In Orono, Max Sturm, ABC 7 in Fox 22 Sports.
Thank you for that, Max, and congrats to the Broncos. Good luck this weekend. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
You heard it was a hit. You heard it was a smash. A wonder. A phenomenon. An international sensation. But you haven't heard them.
March 16 at the Cross Insurance Center. Get your tickets today.
Craving something delicious? Welcome to High Street Market, located at 167 Enfield Road in Lincoln. Breakfast options? Grab a cup of coffee and try one of our sandwiches or burritos. When breakfast is over, we're just getting started. Pizza, subs, burgers, and pastries. Come get lost in Danny's Beer Cave. Order online and save 10% off your first order. High Street Market, where your taste buds go to party.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
There are so many fun things to do in Maine. Now you can enjoy more for less. Check out half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Unwind with a massage. Let me take away the stress of everyday life and allow you to fully relax. I offer Swedish, deep tissue, and prenatal massage. Healing Strength Massage in Bangor is your place for relaxing therapeutic massage.
There's a limited supply available. It's on sale right now. Save with half-off deals from foxbangor.com.
Dreaming of a new garage or custom build? Patriot Landscaping and Construction delivers from frame to finish. Expert craftsmanship, durable designs, and quality you can trust, we get it done right. Call Patriot Landscaping and Construction today. Let's build your future together.
Last season, IndyCar champ Alex Palou rewrote the history books.
Can anyone catch it?
So what's next?
Welcome back. The number of Americans filing new applications for unemployment benefits was unchanged last week. The Labor Department's latest numbers reporting an estimated 213,000 people filed claims for benefits the week ending February 28th, matching the previous week's numbers. It's a sign that layoffs remain at historically low levels, and this comes after the Labor Department last month reported that U.S. employers added a surprisingly strong 130,000 jobs in January. The unemployment rate fell to 4.3% from 4.4%. The government releases its next jobs data on Friday. Well, computerized customer service bots have not always yielded satisfactory experiences. Well, now a next-generation AI makeover is turning those conversations into better experiences. Fox's Eben Brown has more in this edition of our Fox on Tech series.
Everyone understands that this is where the world is going, and it's a transformational technology.
We've all heard that sound before. Now artificial intelligence is putting that music on hold for good. A growing number of tech firms are developing lifelike customer service agents to answer calls. One company, Regal, just hit a major landmark, 350 million calls handled by AI. That sounds completely human.
We've spent years building these AI agents that can feel very human on the phone, so that when you're actually in need of interaction with a brand, you can have that conversation.
Regal's technology is being used by Google, Toyota, and hundreds of other businesses. The goal is to have the AI sound and act completely human, meaning a real conversational back and forth, not just vague prompts that sometimes lead nowhere. But the company says it isn't looking to put customer service agents out of work. They can be reintegrated into other positions that better serve the business.
Do those agents and those managers see that as a threat to their livelihood? And it depends on the organization.
And if these trends continue, it could become a new standard in how we communicate with businesses.
Finally, we can be in a place where we go to the true potential of computers, the true potential of business-human interface, which is the voice interface, a conversational interface.
The AI customer service industry was worth more than $50 billion last year. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Celebrities step into a high-stakes competition, and a hit song inspires a new children's book. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has all of the latest in today's Hollywood Nation.
So, this is my tiny little life now?
Banks shrinks down, celebs play a dangerous game, and Banna heads to the islands in the Hollywood nation.
You have to stop beating yourself to death with memories.
Netflix's hit thriller Untamed is heading to Hawaii for season 2. Production has started with Eric Bana returning as investigator Kyle Turner, now tackling a mysterious death at Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Speaking of Netflix, celebrities are stepping into the world of Squid Game. The streamer announced Squid Game The VIP Challenge, a celebrity edition of the reality competition inspired by the global hit series. Stars including Dylan Efron, Mel B, and Tristan Thompson will compete in high-stakes games, testing their strategy, skill, and nerve. Corinne Bailey Rae is sharing a new story inspired by one of her biggest hits. The Grammy-winning singer has released her debut children's book, Put Your Records On, based on her award-winning song. It follows a young girl who discovers the magic of music through her family's record collection. Rae is also marking the anniversary of her self-titled debut album, with her tour Like a Star celebrating 20 years of Corinne Bailey Rae, kicking off in May.
There you are!
Elizabeth Banks becomes a pint-sized problem in today's First Looks. The trailer for Peacock's The Miniature Wife features Banks and Matthew McFadden as a married couple whose relationship is turned upside down when his experiment accidentally shrinks her. The dramedy premieres April 9th.
Are you smiling right now?
Yes! In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
The risk for spring flooding is below normal this year. The state's River Flow Advisory Commission met virtually today to take a look at conditions around Maine. We entered the fall in a drought that carried over into the colder months. They say unless you live along the coast or near Bangor, it's been a mild to moderate winter.
The snowpack is well below normal. There's abundant runoff storage in the wetlands. The rivers are very, very low. There's a lot of space for water if we needed to put it somewhere.
Cinco says it helps that no significant rain or snow events are expected over the next few weeks because there is so much ice built up on the rivers. He says there is an elevated chance of ice jam flooding, so something to keep an eye out for. Alrighty, folks, that is going to do it for us. From everyone here at Fox 22 News, take care and have a great rest of your night. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.
For more local news coverage, switch over.
It also requires faith that the world won't come crashing down around you, that you won't be burned at the stake.
When the wind is up against me and I'm tired of running, when I need some cover, give me shelter. Oh, oh, oh. Give me shelter. Oh, oh, oh. Give me shelter. Oh, oh, oh. Give me shelter. Oh, oh,
And that this new reality is going to be better. Or at least true than the one that came before.
Zach Braff and Donald Faison on a new Jimmy Kimmel Live later tonight.
My patient has a gaping hole in his chest because of someone's negligence, and it sure as hell isn't mine.
She specifically asked to do some of the suturing.
And you said no. I didn't place the stitch.
One of you is not telling the truth.
You're automatically taking her side. Oh, some friend you are.
She's a multiple organ failure called palliative care.
I've done everything you've asked. I need to get out of here now.
This is ABC 7 News at 11.
Police are investigating